Live from the RSV Media Center, this is Love Television's Evening News for today, Friday, November 1, 2013. There is a lot to tell you about on the newscast tonight, so let us begin by checking on the top stories for tonight. Prime Minister outlines proposed amendment in immigration. Opposition leads protest in Belmopan. While Vision inspired by the people continues their anti-corruption campaign, and a taxi driver murdered in Belmopan. Details of these stories are coming up on the newscast tonight, but first let's step aside for a word from our sponsors.
Don't let the holidays sneak up on you. Secure your gadget gifts today with Smart's Layaway. Unbeatable prices on the latest high-end phones, tablets, and data devices. Be the ultimate gift giver this year. Shop early with Smart's Layaway.
Smart, bringing people together.
It's another night to remember. Save the Last Dance 2013 at the Biltmore Plaza Hotel. Ugo and I will keep you on the dance floor from 9 p.m. with selections such as MC Brian Mosiah will be giving away prizes. So what are you waiting for? Tickets are available at $35 per couple. You pay $20 per person at the door. Free parking will be accessible at the lot adjacent to the Biltmore, and your tables are free. So come on out and it's Love FM's another night to remember.
Grand sponsors: Windy Hill Resort, Villa Boscardi Bed and Breakfast, and Image Pro.
Natural Energy, one of our core values is social responsibility, which is to maintain a safe and healthy workplace, protect the environment, and positively impact our communities. Defining safety is simple. Something is either safe or it's not. At BNE, we've made it a mission to create a safety culture where no one gets hurt and nothing gets damaged. This means safety comes first, in every task, in every project, in everything we do. Whether we're gauging a tank, filling a truck, cleaning the floors, loading a ship, delivering LPG, or transporting crude, we take the time and the resources to ensure that every task is completed safely. Oil exploration, extraction, and transportation has its hazards. BNE has procured and deployed spill pads, sorbent booms and barriers, oil skimming technology, and complete oil spill response units. Necessary equipment combined with skilled, trained personnel make BNE ready to respond to spills and environmental incidents. We're a Belizean company that has adopted world-class standards, and we're constantly raising the bar. At BNE, we're never satisfied. We always focus on continuous improvement. We always want safer, we always want cleaner, and we always want better. Our personnel are trained to follow international standards, from hard hats on the compound, to safe speeds on the highways, to the types of storage tanks at port. Every element of our operation has a safety component.
At BNE, we monitor for hydrocarbons, we monitor for oil and water, we monitor air, and we monitor noise levels. As a person that has been involved in the environmental sector for almost 20 years, and I'm doing exactly what I love, protecting the environment, BNE has actually given me that opportunity to continue doing so at an even higher level.
Our people are at the heart of our safety efforts. They are trained to identify the hazards of a task and use good judgment to avoid and eliminate these hazards.
Safety is not only my responsibility, it's everyone's responsibility. We do protect everyone here because we are a family. That's the end goal, to prevent, because we are a team and we are a family.
We achieve our safety goals because our employees understand the importance of using personal protective equipment, adhering to standard operating procedures and industry best practices. Environmental health and safety management doesn't just happen, but we're making it happen every day because Belize Natural Energy is a Belizean company. This is our home and these are our people, and we are serious about taking care of them.
It's coming. 41 days. The grand opening of BTL Park. 23 new small businesses, including a jet ski business, a tour boat taking you around the coast every 20 minutes, a flower shop, bubble tea, ice cream parlor, and food galore. Opening night is December 7th, 2013, which will feature fireworks, Orange Walk style, security, Obama style, music by an array of local artists, and a special guest musician from Jamaica. It's gonna be big. 41 days to go. Mark your calendar.
At Zetro Western Union, we love to share a smile from 1,000 miles away, just knowing we can help you to be there. This is why Zetro Western Union gives you more. Tell your loved ones they can send $50 US for only $5 and up to $1,000 US for only $8 from anywhere in the US. And for every transaction done at Zetro, customers get a chance to win one of 10 monthly prizes. Visit us at Zetro Western Union in your district or go to our website at zetro.bz. Zetro Western Union.
Good evening. With the weekend edition of Love Television's Evening News, I am Renee Trujillo. The focus of the sitting of the House of Representatives was on 3 amendment bills brought to the House. With the passport and visa scandals still up in the air, the amendment bills introduced is to close the gaps when dealing with immigration, nationality, and passport. Prime Minister Dean Barrow spoke on the proposed changes in the Nationality Act.
What we're trying to do here, Mr. Speaker, is to provide for streamlining and enhancing the requirements to obtain Belizean nationality by registration, including the provision that henceforth all applicants for nationality must be in possession of a permanent residency permit, declaring their status as a permanent resident for 5 years of continuous residency immediately prior to applying to be registered as a citizen of Belize. The amendments provide for increased penalties for violation of the provisions of the Act, and these increased penalties would include a fine of $50,000 and a mandatory term of imprisonment from 5 to 15 years, I believe is the range that we've set out in the bill. Now, there's one aspect of the bill to which I must speak, and I want to do so very soberly and clearly. As we had first drafted the bill, it was proposing that the establishment of a nationality scrutinizing committee would be put in place, and that would have the responsibility of vetting all applications for citizenship by registration and advising the minister on qualification and suitability of persons for registration, having looked at the files. We originally proposed that this Nationality Scrutinizing Committee should consist of one member from the Belize Council of Churches, one member from the Belize Chamber of Commerce and Industry, one member from the NTUCB, the CEO of the Ministry of Immigration, the CEO of the Ministry of Human Development, the CEO of the Ministry of National Security, a representative from the Solicitor General's Department, and the Director of Immigration and Nationality.
Barrow said the minister has met with social partners to get them on board and have them appoint a representative to the scrutinizing committee.
Some of the social partners seemed to feel that the amendments should be drafted in such a way as to give the scrutinizing committee the power to actually issue the nationality certificates. And then when that was discussed at some length, and it was explained that under our system of governance, under our constitution, certain functions are reserved for ministers. That's the democracy that we operate. And while the social partners are just that, partners in terms of the sort of climate in which we operate our constitution and laws. It cannot be that the social partners must supplant the members of cabinet, must supplant ministers of government. It can't be that the executive is to be subjugated to or subordinate to social partners. That would fly in the face of the Constitution if we did that with respect, in particular, to this Belize Nationality Act. I could see how we would get into trouble with the Constitution.
He went on to say that the role of the committee is to check the documents and ensure that everything is in order.
We can't put in the law something that would immediately be frustrated because you, the social partners, are not prepared to agree. So instead, what we've put is this. The committee shall consist of the following. One representative of the religious community to be appointed by the minister after consultation with both, because we were forgetting the Evangelical Association, and we shouldn't do that, to be appointed by the minister after consultation with the Belize Council of Churches and the Belize Evangelical Association. So we will consult you. And if you want to make a recommendation, we can assure you that we will accept that recommendation. But you will not appoint because of the position you've taken when we first gave you an offer that I personally thought was always going too far. But we made the offer, you rejected it. Well, this is now how things will proceed.
The amendment to the passport bill looks at the penalties and offences.
Amendments, Mr. Speaker, are intended to widen the net to capture all persons who facilitate the issuance of a passport, 1, without lawful authority, or 2, knowing that the issue of the passport is contrary to the provisions of this Act, or 3, engages in conduct in the exercise of a duty or authority under this Act for the purpose of obtaining a benefit for himself or another person. Additionally, the penalties for offenses against the Act are strengthened by increasing from $500, the fine, which is currently provided, increasing that $500 fine to up to a 1-year term of imprisonment, or currently it's a fine of $500 and up to 1 year imprisonment, and we're increasing that to a fine of $50,000 and imprisonment for a term between 5 and 15 years. Mr. Speaker, let me just make clear that the introduction of the amendments to the legislation are being done against the backdrop of administrative changes that have already been made by the minister, by the ministry, by the department in an effort to provide improvements. A new nationality certificate administratively is being introduced, which will include security features and will now require the following before issue. You can't get the certificate unless the photograph of the applicant is scanned into the document, the signature and fingerprint of the recipient of the certificate is on the document, the signature of a member of the scrutinizing committee who's not connected with the immigration department, one of the others on the nationality committee, would also have to appear on that document for it to be valid. The signature of the commissioner of the Supreme Court who administers the oath of allegiance must appear on the certificate. So you'll have to be sworn in by the commissioner before you can get the certificate. And the certificate would only then be valid with all these signatures. The signature of the minister responsible for immigration and the signature of the director of immigration. Additionally, the seal will be affixed at the time of swearing in and signature by the minister. The certificate and all that it contains, we want to do it administratively, but to make absolutely sure, we will pass an SI that will now set out the new prescribed form.
The Prime Minister also said a restructuring of the department is taking place at this time.
As in conjunction with the Public Services Ministry, tried to restructure and reorganize the department. Some people have been moved out, new people have been moved in. New sections within the department are being created. There will now be 5 sections: customer care, investigation, processing, a processing section that will deal with all applications, passports, permanent residency, nationality visas, a quality assurance and delivery section, and an enforcement section. The reorganization is to try and separate processes to ensure greater accountability and a better system of checks and balances. This change in the structure ensures that the person accepting applications for services from the public is not involved in the investigation and processing or the quality assurance and delivery back of those applications. Now, the investigation section will be responsible for vetting the applications, conducting the interviews, and so on and so on. The enforcement section will also be responsible for border patrols, checkpoints, prosecution, and interagency cooperation. Mr. Speaker, I regret that the ministry is trying to conduct a proper inventory and so as to, as it were, start fresh. The nationality section are dealing with applications for permanent residency, nationality, will in fact be closed to the public for a period while they try to get everything in order. We don't expect the closure. In the first instance, we expect it to be for 2 weeks. Perhaps it might extend as long as a month in order to dot every I and cross every T, but it certainly would not go beyond a month.
Prime Minister Barrow provided an update on the investigation in the department.
Finally, Mr. Speaker, we need to make clear that the police department continues the investigations. I believe it's ACP Blackett who's in charge, and they have interviewed several persons in the various sections of the department. They have received files turned over by one Mr. Arthur Saldiva, not the 100 or 150 or whatever he said. I think it's a total of 5 files. They're working with these. The FIU is, of course, proceeding with its investigation, and the Auditor General on October 15th gave the department notice of its intention to carry out a comprehensive investigation and audit into the issuance of nationality certificates passports and visas for the period from April 2011 to September 2013. They've requested from the department all the databases for nationality and passport, the policies and procedures, the database for the issuance of visas, the policies and procedures for the issuance of visas, and the work started on Monday, October 28, 2013.
The Prime Minister said that he is confident that going forward, the Immigration Department will be much more effective. Leader of the opposition, Francis Fonseca, said it has been 42 days since we have been embroiled in the passport scandal, and there remains many questions and no answers. He reiterated his demand for Elvin Penner's resignation. As it relates to the amendment bills introduced in the House, Fonseca said if the proposed changes will improve the system, the opposition is prepared to support them.
We have just gotten an opportunity to look at the amendments proposed this morning, introduced this morning by the Honorable Prime Minister in respect of three new bills, amendments. And certainly we are going to look at those with a very open mind. And anything we can do to support the process of fixing the problem, we will do. If those amendments are moving toward fixing the problem, closing any loopholes that exist, creating as best as possible a foolproof system. It's not likely that you can ever create a system that is completely foolproof. But if those amendments are moving in that direction, we will have no difficulty in supporting them. But absolutely, we will not support any cover-up. So that Senate inquiry, Mr. Speaker, is very, very critical. So, Mr. Speaker, these are important matters, and we have been dialoguing with the Belizean people. We've been talking to people across the country about this matter. And over the next few days and weeks, we will be dialoguing even more with our social partners, seeking their support, seeking the support of the Belizean people, as we step up our efforts and demands that this UDP government put the national interest ahead of their party political interests.
The opposition led a demonstration to coincide with today's House meeting. Reporter Hippolyta Novello and cameraman Miles Gillett have the story.
The crowd started to gather minutes after 9 o'clock. A few PUP party supporters were waiting under a tent for the arrival of others. And while the PUP supporters waited, the UDP made sure they brought out their handful of supporters who were led up the gallery of the National Assembly by UDP agents, just in time for the meeting of the House of Representatives. The crowd began to slowly thicken, but not as expected. Nevertheless, PUP party leader Francis Fonseca joined the crowd for a few minutes.
We felt it was important for us to have a presence here today and to make a very clear statement that we are dissatisfied with the way the government is running the country. Obviously, we have a lot of people who are coming out from the Cayo area who are particularly focused on protesting Mr. Penner and the scandal that is engulfing the entire government and speaking out very clearly about that corruption. But there are many other issues. You see the people from Dangriga here today. They are very, very angry and frustrated about the situation with their market and the corruption that has caused that project to stop. So generally, it's a protest against corruption in the UDP government, against incompetence, against everything that is going wrong in Belize.
But what was expected to be a blue wave of PUP party supporters was only a small tide. But in the early onset, Fonseca and Deputy Party Leader Julius Espat expected 1,000 party supporters.
Estimate is that we're aiming for about 1,000 people, some modest estimate, and we expect that will be easily achieved.
Sir, do you think that this will make any dent or any voice, or are you just making lots of noise, as one would say?
No, it's absolutely important for the Belizean people, for us as the opposition, to make a very clear statement about what is happening in our country today. So yes, it's always important for us to do that. It's always useful. It always serves a very important purpose.
But most of the people out here are from the west, coming out from Cayo South, Cayo Northeast. The buses from Cayo Central, only half have reached, and we're getting a bus from Sokot also. The Belmopan people are on their way too, so you'll see more crowd.
Mr. Deputy Leader, this is not 1,000, close to 1,000 yet.
Well, it hasn't started as yet, but you need to come, and then you'll tell me afterwards. We need to know the real numbers. We are not playing any kind of games.
The UDP era reps are sort of laughing in there. They're smiling at a small crowd. They say this is nothing compared to 2005. How do you respond?
Well, the UDP uses your money to be able to bring out people. That's a major difference. So they can laugh as long as they want to, but when we get in there, I want to hear what they have to explain to the Belizean people as to what they have been doing.
By our count, there are only over 300. Fonseca and Espat say that this is just a test, the first round. But the PUP, as the opposition, has been criticized for not moving quickly enough against the government.
The government is under intense pressure, and the pressure will only build and grow. It will not get less. And yes, we are on our own timeline. We have our own internal strategic plan, and we are working exactly according to that plan.
And that plan is expected to extend to 2014.
This is the beginning of the end for the UDP. Yes, we will. This is a protest we have started today. It will roll over into 2014, where we will build up. But we will be approaching this thing on two tracks. One is to protest against the obviously the wrongs and the failings of the UDP government. But also we will be traveling across the country, rolling out our policies and our position papers on how we will fix the system, how we will change Belize, how we will reform our country, how we will fix the broken institutions that exist today. So it's two tracks: one, attacking the government, building up the pressure, keeping the pressure on, but also talking to the Belizean people about how we will do things differently.
The protest died off by midday and the crowd disappeared. Reporting for Love News, I am Ippolito Novello.
The Vision Inspired by the People VIP also made their presence in front of the National Assembly building this morning. It was a two-man team, and Public Relations Officer for the VIP, Robert Lopez, was one of them. Lopez says that even though the VIP and the PUP are concerned about similar problems within the government, he does not feel that the VIP and the PUP should join efforts.
Our presence is to bring more awareness to what's plaguing our country. Probably the worst plague affecting our country today is corruption. At every facet of society, at every facet of government, we see corruption, we hear it. We hear the acknowledgement of corruption by the Prime Minister, saying that there is a hotbed of corruption in the Ministry of Natural Resources. So we know it exists. We see the effects of it. And it's important that Belizeans know that there is a role that they can play.
So why is it that the VIP did not join with the PUP?
There's two different things. The PUP requires a license, or a license is required when you're going to gather more than, I believe it's 3 persons. Less than 3 persons, you can freely walk here as any Belizean has the right to. And so we're not here with the PUP, we're here with the people of Belize, asking them to support. We need to rid this country of the worst cancer it is suffering from, and that is corruption.
Sir, and why is it that we don't see any VIP supporters?
Okay, you know, our supporters are hardworking people, are women in their homes. We have a 27% support here in Belmopan, and we're pretty sure that 27% or more exists across the country. It's called the swing voters, the ones who don't align themselves with either the PUP or the UDP, but on election day they need to vote. But they've never had a choice. They only have 2 choices. Now they have a choice, and we intend in 2017 or whenever they call the elections to have 31 candidates, good people of good standing, to give everybody an option for a better government. And that's why we're here. The path we took is the path less traveled. It's not an easy path, it's a difficult path. We could easily join one of the 2 major parties, but they're so corrupt that we cannot change them.
The VIP, in a press release issued this evening, is calling on all Belizeans to be a part of a march organized corruption, which starts tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock in front of the courthouse in Belize City. As the leader of the People's United Party, Francis Fonseca, greeted his supporters at this morning's protest, Love News asked him on what he thinks about the allegations made against Belize Rural North Area Representative Edmond Castro. We also asked him whether or not during his time as a minister he procured or sped up the process for someone to obtain a visa. Here is how Fonseca responded.
With the visa hustle, that is a very serious matter. The Prime Minister himself has admitted that there is this visa quota system that exists. We need to know who are the ministers involved in this visa hustle, what passports, what visas have been given out, who have gotten them. So it's a very, very serious matter, and we are fully in support of a Senate inquiry into this matter.
So there's a rumor that the PUP financially paid Ms. Burgess to come up with all these allegations.
No, absolute nonsense. That's absolute nonsense.
Sir, what do you make of the Prime Minister and Honorable Castro dodging the media when they came in to the country last week? Is that something indicative of the times, what is happening on the ground?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's disgraceful and how things have changed. How things have changed. The people who claim to be so accountable are now running from the media, running from the people, bringing out thugs to intimidate the media and to keep themselves away from the media. It's very disgraceful. So that we should never reach that point, but it is indicative of the times you're in. A government on the siege, a government under pressure, a government running away from the people, a government unwilling to answer the tough questions, unwilling to provide answers to the Belizean people because they know there are no good answers. So it's a very, very serious matter.
Sir, I must ask you, when the PUP was in government and you were a minister, sir, did you facilitate any visa for any of your constituencies, or made any calls, made any recommendations, or speed up the process?
No, sir.
No, nothing at all?
No, sir. No.
In related news, Orlando Habet, the PUP standard bearer for Kaya Northeast, is now moving towards to be fully committed in recalling former Minister of State Elvin Penner. Habet has garnered more than the 30% of signatures needed to trigger the recall referendum and still continues to receive even more signatures. Coming up after the break, taxi driver of Roaring Creek murdered. We meet the 4 candidates contesting this weekend's PUP convention, and April the Tapir dies. The evening news will continue after these messages.
Bye. That not ready for this.
The Digicel 4G Social Plan. Browse all your favorite social media sites for only $25 a month. Sign up today and become a Digicel 4G socialite. Digicel. Make life easy.
Going to the islands, Kicker and Burgeski. Come ride with us, we'll get you there safe and reliable. We have experience, captains and coaches staff. We're here to serve you, better believe that there'll be no worries. 100% Belizeans with 20 years experience. Come and ride with us, yeah. You can have great fun out there, family oriented. Kikakawa taxi, wata taxi, Kikawata taxi. Come and ride with us today, cause our service guaranteed.
Call us at 223-5752. Kikaker Water Taxi, powered by your expectation for excellence.
Turn ordinary into delicious with Grace Salad Cream. Make Grace Salad Cream a part of your recipes, in your Sunday meals, or use every single day. Try it in a sandwich or on eggs. After all, Grace Salad Cream is another fine product from Grace. For recipes, go to gracerecipes.com. Grace, bringing good taste to life.
Quality nutrition from generation to generation.
Bringing good taste to life.
It's coming. 41 days. The grand opening of BTL Park. 23 new small businesses, including a jet ski business, a tour boat taking you around the coast every 20 minutes, a flower shop, bubble tea, ice cream parlor, and food galore. Opening night is December 7th, 2013, which will feature fireworks, Orange Walk style, security, Obama style, music by an array of local artists, and a special guest musician from Jamaica. It's gonna be big. 41 days to go. Mark your calendar.
Surface Solutions now introduces a new way of cleaning, Maximo Purple Buster. This incredible degreaser is strong enough to clean automotive and marine parts, but is gentle enough to be used on vinyl, rubber, and other tasks around the home. Just spray a liberal amount on the surface and watch as Maximo Purple Buster quickly begins to remove the grease and grime. Wow! Incredible and affordable. Maximo Purple Buster. Get yours today at Surface Solutions at Carl H. Menzies Company Limited.
Marie Sharp's Fine Foods. You've come a long way, lady. A true Belizean original for over 30 years. Winner of many prestigious awards, such as the Food and Beverage Food Award from the Anuga Food Show in Germany, the Fiery Food Show, and many others. From Belize to China and Japan, from Germany and the UK to the USA, you can choose with confidence your favorite Marie Sharp's red and green hot habanero pepper sauces. How about our Just Juicy Fruit Juices, Marie Sharp's jams, jellies, exotic tamarind-based steak sauce, Belizean seasonal, green mango chutney, snacks, as well as our popular red and green pepper jellies. All mouth-watering, all delicious, all natural and free of sodium benzoate preservatives. And HACCP certified. Marie Sharp Fine Foods, proud products of Belize.
The digital revolution has finally arrived in Belize. Imagine Central Cablevision's Debo will bring real interactive high-definition and digital TV into your home. Whether you have an older TV or a high-definition TV, you can now enjoy better features than satellite TV. Debo's interactive remote control allows you to scroll quickly through the channel list or view a detailed program information guide that lists programming up to 7 days in advance. You can also pause or record live TV without missing a second. In addition, Debo allows you to set reminders for your favorite shows and play games while waiting for your program to begin. Debo is that easy, and Debo is that good. Get your Debo from the Central Cablevision office near you and be your own digital boss. Get free installation with the purchase of every Debo. Central Cablevision, leading the digital revolution.
Welcome back to Love Television's Evening News. A 47-year-old taxi driver was found dead with his throat slashed in the Mayamopan area in the city of Belmopan last night. It happened on the Costa Rica Street extension of the area, and the victim has been identified as Orlando Smith. Officer commanding the Belmopan Police Department, Assistant Superintendent Cinquas Martinez, told Love News that the motive of the murder is robbery.
Last night we responded to a murder on Rica Street. We found a person of Creole descent who was later identified as Orlando Smith, a Belizean taxi driver at Foreign Creek Village and that operate at the Belmopan bus terminal.
Tell us about what you guys found there on the scene.
What we found the body had a cut wound to his neck, and he was bleeding, after which we transported the body to the Western Regional Hospital, where he was pronounced dead.
Has the motive been ascertained?
Yes, the motive had been ascertained as robbery. We didn't find his geoprison on the scene. Neighbors saw the vehicle sped off in that area, and the vehicle was found on the George Price Highway.
Do you have any leads? I understand that you're looking for 2 persons of interest.
Yes, we are surely looking for 2 persons of interest that could assist us in this investigation.
And of those persons, residents here in Belmopan City, outside of the city?
They are from within our area of responsibility.
I understand. Or these persons knew the individual, the victim?
I cannot answer that. Only the victim will know that.
Now, what what evidence is there without, of course, what evidence is there to indicate that robbery was the motive behind this killing?
The vehicle was stolen, but it was recovered. Certain items were stolen from out of his vehicle, and that's the reason why I say the motive is robbery.
The murder weapon was found on the scene. As Martinez mentioned, the police department is looking for 2 persons of interest, and if you have any information that can assist police in their investigation, you are encouraged to contact the nearest police station. One of Belize's most beloved national icon passed away this morning. April de Tapera became a household name after she was adopted in 1983 after her mother was killed. April became popular among school children who year after year visited the Belize Zoo to celebrate her birthday with her. April's death came at the age of 30, far longer than her life expectancy would have been had she lived in the wild. Love News spoke with the founding director of the Belize Zoo, Sharon Matola, who told us more.
She had such a great life, and she touched the hearts of so many people. So we're all lucky that April lived as long as she did, and she was part of our natural heritage.
Tell us about the days prior to her passing away, her health behavior.
Her health was really decreasing in the quality of health. She lost interest in food, but we could see that she couldn't really chew very well. Her teeth were all worn down. And so we were making porridge for her, and she liked that. But then she stopped eating that, and when that happened, we thought, okay, this is a bad sign. It means when the appetite shuts down, other things are happening. And we were just planning to get some blood work done on her and see if there was anything at all we could do. My concern was, it wasn't how much longer she would live, but the quality of her life. I didn't want her to be in any pain. If she can't enjoy her last days, I just didn't want to see it happen. And so, thankfully, she went in her sleep.
What was your first train of thought or your first reaction when you got to know that April had passed away?
Oh, I kind of just had to be alone. And I couldn't really put too much grieving time aside, I'll tell you. I mean, we've lost other animals, and nothing as severely affecting all of us like April, but I'll tell you, that 1 year I spent working in a circus taught me one important thing, many important things, but one important thing, and you know what that is? The show must go on.
Matola says that April's skeletal structure will be used as an exhibit in the future. The standard bearer for Belize Rural North for the People's United Party, Arthur Saldivar, is meeting with the PUP executive next week to establish their next move when it comes to trigger a recall mechanism against area Representative Edmund Castro. Saldivar told us today that he only needs a little over 1,500 signatures that he says will surely be obtained.
All I am doing is facilitating the people to manifest their will, as have been explained to me by them. So in that regard, we are just preparing to have the people exercise that opportunity, to exercise their right, their constitutional right.
Sir, so when does this officially start?
There is a planned meeting for Tuesday of the executive of the People's United Party in Belize Rural North. After that meeting, we will be laying out our plan of action and seeking to execute it.
Now, sir, are you hopeful that this might be successful?
The success of the endeavor is assured. Again, the process is about giving the people a chance to exercise their constitutional right, to voice their displeasure and effect the change they require. All I am doing as a servant of the people is giving them the mechanism through which they can do so efficiently and effectively.
Sir, and that percentage of threshold translate to how many signatures?
A little over 1,500 signatures in the Belize Rural North. The situation over in Taiwan that was well reported, and the Prime Minister's even making the claim.
Sure, but the ambassador hasn't made any official report, hasn't sent any paperwork in terms of that allegation.
The ambassador was not violated either. Certainly the woman who was violated would have expected more from her government, but we cannot speak for them. Certainly, we do understand, however, that there was that allegation made. And Mr. Castro has not given any satisfactory explanation to what occurred or what he was doing in Taiwan.
You're not satisfied with his explanation?
No, I'm not.
So, but when it comes to the allegations made by Mrs. Burgess on that news station, she hasn't presented any proof of what she's saying. Don't you think that you're moving prematurely in regards to that factor?
Well, when a person records and documents an allegation in the form of an affidavit is evidence before a court. An affidavit is what is required for a court to be moved if someone is making a statement. It's done under oath, and Ms. Burgess has done that. So certainly, Ms. Burgess's statement weighs more than the inconsistencies in the replies of Mr. Castro.
It has now been 55 days since works on the Dangriga Market extension ceased after a scandal rocked the Social Investment Fund, the organization that was funding the project. Mayor of Dangriga Town, Gilbert Swazo, told us today that his council sent a letter to Prime Minister Dean Barrow requesting an audience last month. Well, according to Swazo, PM Barrow flatly denied his request.
He wrote a letter to the Prime Minister indicating the need for finances, indicating that there's a need for an audience as a result of the SIF issue, and also there's also some land issues that the UDP cronies are also hostile with land within Dangriga. So the letter was written to the Prime Minister with a view to sit down to discuss these issues so that together we can come up with solutions.
When did you write this letter?
The letter was written about the 4th of October, 4th or 5th of October. And his office was also called, since he was not there, with a view for us to sit down and talk about it, to have a meeting with the Prime Minister. Monday, the 7th of October, about 9:30, the Prime Minister called me on my phone indicating that he acknowledged the receipt of the letter and also acknowledged the call for us to meet. And the Prime Minister outrightly stated to me that he will not meet with me and he does not even want to see me about any of the issues that I indicated that I want to speak with. And he also indicated that I should take the liberty to go through the respective ministries because they are the ones who will be able to solve or alleviate the situation. I indicated that I have already done that because I know that that is the process. And he said, well, I will not be in the country, and even when I return, I will still not meet with you and still do not want to see you.
Research conducted by the Belize Mental Health Association in collaboration with Yale University has revealed that child abuse has long-term health implications on people later in life. Today, a symposium on the topic showed that the majority of people who were surveyed and diagnosed with hypertension or diabetes were at some point in their childhood abused. Jenny Lovell, who is the president of the Belize Mental Health Association, explained to Love News how these illnesses can be traced to childhood abuse.
Neglect has gone up, while it seems that actual child abuse, physical abuse has gone down somewhat in the country.
Is that in Belize or is that a general?
This is Belize, the country of Belize, right? But we know this to not be an accurate number because as the law stands right now, which is what makes this law very important, because a lot, I'm talking about the amendment to the law that covers sexual abuse. The current law as it stands, if you take a little boy in who has been molested by a female, that child would not be considered having molestation because the law doesn't cover females. And so this session today was very eye-opening because we saw numbers that should be more but that weren't. A lot of people that are in prison and a lot of people that we're seeing now with diabetes, with cancers, that those were people who, if you do a survey of them, you will find that they were abused in childhood.
Diseases are linked to child abuse.
Child abuse, yes ma'am.
How do they arrive at that conclusion when a lot of people's lifestyles is what cause their illnesses? A lot of people smoke, a lot of people eat fried chicken and all the greasy stuff.
But there are lots of people who did not do those things and they have problems.
So how do you differentiate and identify those people?
When in their studies that they were doing, they did what they call, they looked backward. They would sit with these folks and go back and do assessments. What they found were a lot of the folks that didn't have lifestyle issues, what they found was that they were abused, severely abused in childhood. It's just one of the things that we need to look at. And he was saying early intervention was very important.
Lovell says that the association she represents feels that it is imperative for the current law to be amended as soon as possible.
It needs to be passed as quickly as possible. We've been fighting for this for years, you know, for years. As the law stands right now, or as things stand right now, a lot of men know that when somebody sees a man with a young girl, they're not going to go search her anus. They're going to go and look for her hymen. That's what mothers and what the medical institutions do. We need them to be searching every orifice because men know, and that's what they're banking on us not looking. Okay? And so the law is saying that if you go into any orifice, this new law, the amendment to the law, any orifice is going to be very important, that would be constituting child sexual abuse. We need the changes. We need the changes desperately and now.
A traffic accident this afternoon near Mile 7 on the George Price Highway has left at least one person injured. It occurred shortly after 3 this afternoon when a gold pickup truck ran off the right-hand side of the highway and careened into bushes. Love News understands that one person was shuttled to the Carl Houston Memorial Hospital by ambulance for medical attention. The details of the accident were not forthcoming from the police department. This Sunday, 4 PUP aspirants will contest in each for the PUP Belmopan City Convention. Patrick Andrews, Amin Agar, Ruth Logan, and Oscar Mira are going against each other to be the PUP standard bearer for that constituency. Today, Love News spoke to all 4 candidates who all say that they will emerge victorious.
Citizens of Belmopan will decide who will lead them forward into Belmopan, into development, you know, and so this Sunday the people will come out and they will be the one to decide who will lead them forward.
Sir, do you think that you will get the majority of votes?
I think people are looking for leaders with integrity, leaders with honesty, leaders that have vision and a concept on how to develop this country and move it forward, and so I think the decision will be very easy for the people come Sunday.
And that decision is you?
Patrick Andrews, of course.
As you all know, all the polls are saying that Amin Hagar and his team have it for this Sunday. We have made it before, we're going to make it before. Belmopanese are convinced that Dr. Amin Hagar has the best plan for Belmopan, and not only for Belmopan, for the whole country, because I'm a man of experience, an honest man that will be making the best we have, the best I have, that God has given me for my country.
What would you say that the thing that you have over your opponents?
Well, number one, Belmopan has never had a female candidate, and we all know that women are hard-working people, and with that I bring to the table an experienced person that has struggled. I've had many struggles, and people know me as a grassroots person, that I have made it, and so you all will have a chance to make it. And we women, we have a sense of that God has given us, that we could bring things to the table and work on it, because a woman, you guys know, we don't do promises, we do growth. We raise up our children, and that's how we'll get Belmopan moving up. Everyone deserves a chance now, everyone.
And what would you say that your opponents have over you?
Nothing. Nothing.
I am Oscar Mira. I am the candidate for Belmopan. I'm the candidate that grew among our people here in Belmopan, and I am the candidate that will make progress for Belmopan.
So do you think that you will be the candidate to emerge as success?
Of course. Our machinery is on the ground working. We have been working hard for the past several months, and we will continue working hard for Belmopan. I believe that my candidacy here in Belmopan brings an appeal for both the peripherals where I grew up and for central Belmopan where I spent 22 years of my life working as a public servant.
And whoever is the victor, they will run against UDP's area representative, Honorable John Saldivar. Love FM and Love Television held its first ever live auction on air last night to raise funds for the Love Foundation, which is a philanthropic non-governmental organization that aims to help the less fortunate. Viewers from all over the country tuned in and the phones rang constantly as bidders vied to win items ranging from cellular phones to flat-screen televisions. Francis Gegg, the executive director of the Love Foundation, told us that the auction for love was indeed a success.
We think it went beyond their expectations. We were somewhat, I wouldn't say concerned, but we were charting new waters, and so we really didn't know how it would go. We didn't know what the response would be from our viewers and from the community at large, and we were thrilled that the community really supported us in such an amazing way. I want to thank everyone who called in, everyone who bid, even if they didn't succeed. Many people, I think, got some good deals, and we thought that it was a lively event. It was a fun event. It was totally new, very entertaining. But the most important thing of all is that, you know, the Love Foundation, I think, is beginning to get awareness in the minds and hearts of the Belizean people that we are here to try and do good work, to engage with those brothers and sisters in our community who are in greatest need. So we're really thrilled. We want to thank all our partners, all our sponsors, all those who helped, who contributed generously to make this first auction a huge success. It's always a learning curve. You have to look back. We haven't done a postmortem yet, and we'll do that early next week to see, I wouldn't call them mistakes, but you know, when you're doing something for the first time, you have to kind of say, well, we could do it better this way, or tweak it this way. And but all in all, to me, it was a tremendous success from terms of audience participation, in terms of audience helping to make the Love Foundation make that journey. You know, now I would say this is our second step in this journey of dealing with the huge challenges we have facing the country and facing ourselves, because we want to be engaged in all these issues which are so important to this country.
Winners are reminded that you can pay for and collect your items at Love FM's office, number 7145 Slaughterhouse Road in Belize City. As mentioned during the event, the deadline is Friday, November 8th. The Embassy of Mexico is inviting the Belizean public to join with them in the traditional Mexican celebration of Day of the Dead, which commenced a short while ago at 6 o'clock in Belmopan City. Marcelina Miranda, press officer for the Mexican Embassy, tells us more.
The Mexican Embassy is pleased to invite the general public to a cultural presentation that is going to be held in Belmopan at the Mexican Embassy, celebrating or commemorating the Day of the Dead. This presentation, this cultural presentation, is to present or to show the Belizean public the way in which Mexicans celebrate traditionally the Day of the Dead. This will include different things. One of them is going to be a painting exhibition by one of the Mexican renowned artists of the 20th century. This is Jose Guadalupe Posada. Also, there will be a presentation of Altar of the Dead contest, in which some Belizean schools are going to participate, and at the same time, at the front yard of the embassy, there will be a reproduction of a cemetery. The aim of this is a reproduction of cemetery is to show Belizeans how in Mexico Mexicans celebrate this special occasion. And I would like to emphasize that this is a cultural presentation. It's not a religious ceremony. It's not a religious activity. It doesn't have anything to do with that. It's specifically a cultural presentation, and the embassy will be delighted to receive and to host Belizeans.
Jose Guadalupe Posada is a famous Mexican artist whose work is featured prominently at the exhibition.
Mexican artists from the end of the 19th century and beginning of the 20th century. This year in Mexico we are celebrating the 100th anniversary of his death, and he's an iconic artist, and especially because he left some of his paintings are related to death or to certain characters of everyday life in Mexico, but the particularity is that he portrayed those characters as skeletons. So that's very interesting. It's a particular style of this artist, and one of the characters, La Catrina, one of the characters of this artist, became as part of a representative character of this time, of the Day of the Dead, and it was adopted as a central character for this celebration.
The exhibition will continue through to tomorrow. Entrance is free and schools are invited to bring in their students so they can learn about this intriguing Mexican tradition. For more information, you can contact the Mexican Embassy at 822-2480. Residents of Pueblo Viejo Village in Punta Gorda are raising funds to renovate a local church building. Paul Mahang tells us more.
A committee in Pueblo Viejo Village has undertaken a church renovation project in the Toledo district. Chairman of the San Francisco de Jeronimo Church Group of Pueblo Viejo Village, Domingo Salam, spoke to Love News.
The committee of the Catholic Church of Pueblo Viejo is embarking on a fundraising drive to renovate the church building. The project entails the tiling of the floor, painting of the building, and beautifying the church compound. On this account, we have organized a football marathon this Sunday, November 3rd, 2013 in the village. We have attractive prizes. First prize is $300 with a trophy and a medal for the first place winner. The second prize is $200 with a trophy. The third place is $100. We will also have a lot of cultural food and refreshment on sale. We are hereby extending invitation to all football teams in the vicinity and also to our neighboring Guatemala to participate in this grand marathon. We look forward for your participation and thank you.
Domingo Salam of Pueblo Viejo Village. The football marathon is scheduled to begin at 9 a.m. and will continue throughout the day and into the Sunday evening hours. Pueblo Viejo Village is located 31 miles out Punta Gorda en route the road leading onto the Belize-Guatemala border in the Toledo district. Reporting for Love News, Paul Mahone, Punta Gorda.
This news broadcast comes to you from Love Television Studios in Belize City. Coming up, we take a look at the weather after this.
Going to the islands, Kicker and Burgeski. Come ride with us, we'll get you there safe and reliable. We have experience, captains and coaches staff. We're here to serve you, better believe that there'll be no worries. 100% Belizeans with 20 years experience. Come and ride with us, yeah. You can have great fun out there, family oriented. Kikawa taxi, wata taxi, Kikawa taxi. Come and ride with us today, cause our service guaranteed.
Call us at 223-5752. Kikawa Water Taxi, powered by your expectation for excellence.
It's another night to remember. Save the Last Dance 2013 at the Biltmore Plaza Hotel. Ugo and I will keep you on the dance floor from 9 p.m. with selections such as MC Brian Mosiah will be giving away prizes. So what are you waiting for? Tickets are available at $35 per couple. You pay $20 per person at the door. Free parking will be accessible at the lot adjacent to the Biltmore, and your tables are free. So come on out and Love FM's another night to remember.
Grand sponsors: Windy Hill Resort, Villa Boscardi Bed and Breakfast, and Image Pro.
This weather report is brought to you by Insurance Corporation of Belize, ICB, making a positive difference in a changing Belize.
Policy. Oh, no matter what, you can count on ICB.
A cold front will approach Yucatan and support an increase in instability over the next 24 to 48 hours. The forecast is for partly cloudy skies tonight and sunny skies with a few cloudy spells tomorrow. Showers will be isolated along with the chance of an isolated afternoon thunderstorm inland tomorrow. The winds will blow from the east to southeast at 5 to 15 knots, producing choppy seas. Low temperatures for tonight, 78 degrees Fahrenheit along the coast, 73 degrees Fahrenheit inland, and 70 degrees Fahrenheit up in the hills. A high tide will occur at 16 minutes past 8 o'clock tonight, and this will be followed by a low tide at 3 minutes past 3 o'clock tomorrow morning. The sun rises at 8 minutes before 6 tomorrow morning and will set at 5:21 tomorrow evening. The outlook for Saturday night and Sunday is for some cloudy spells with a few showers and thunderstorms, mainly over northern and inland areas. And that is a look at the weather, with information provided by forecaster Michael Gentle.
This weather report was brought to you by Insurance Corporation of Belize, ICB, making a positive difference in a changing Belize.
Those are the stories we have for you today on Love Television. Our thought conditioner today comes from Aristotle. He said, and we quote, "Happiness is the meaning and the purpose of life, the whole aim and end of human existence," unquote. If you would like to contribute a comment or suggest a quotation for use in this segment of our news, all you have to do is write us an email. Our email address is news@lovetv.com.bz. Thank you for joining us. I am Renee Trujillo. Have a good evening and a good night.